Hey guys, today I want to share with you 3 strategies which I think are going to help you face the COVID-19 pandemic in such a way that you become stronger, wiser, more capable, and even more skillful as a spiritual practitioner. Let's get started. In my last video, I was talking about how now is the time for each of us to step up and to become more dependable, more reliable individuals. In this video, I want to give you step-by-step instructions to show you how to do this, so that rather than being dominated by this situation, you can view it as a challenge and you can use it as an opportunity to develop your character as an individual. The first step that I want to cover is discipline of the body and discipline of the environment, really physical discipline. What we're dealing with here is a virus, an infectious disease, so the health of the physical body is going to be very important. We can do various things to ensure the health of the physical body or to make it more likely. There's the practice of hygiene, hand washing. There's the practice of social distancing, which I think a third of the country is now practicing at this point, keeping 6 feet or 2 meters away from anyone who is not a member of your household. That requires upkeep and discipline. There's also other things like making sure that your immune system is strong. That means getting your 8 hours of sleep every night. That means not indulging unduly in intoxicants. I'm sure a lot of people are tempted right now to indulge in excessive drinking or drugs or anything that would take the edge off of the stress that we're experiencing. But we already know that those are the sorts of things that tend to weaken the body. They will weaken the immune system over time, and they also create psychological dependence. So I'm struggling with that now myself. I feel that urge as well, and I'm reining that in and making sure that I don't indulge unduly in alcohol or other forms of escapism, and I would suggest that you do the same. Then there's also exercise. You should be getting outside and going for a walk, making sure you're keeping enough distance, but in addition to that, try to do something that's going to get your blood flowing, that's going to get your heart pounding a little bit. That's the kind of exercise you're going to need to sustain you through this and build up that resiliency. Now is not a time to do anything stupid. I mean, it's never a time to do anything stupid, but at this point, you don't want to fall off a bicycle. You don't want to have a heart attack or a stroke. You don't want to take up parkour now. It's not the time to do that. In fact, you don't even want to stub your toe while this is going on. The medical health system is going to be preoccupied with dealing with COVID-19. You don't want to bump your head or have any other reason to go into the hospital. That's the last place you want to be right now. So now is a time to really especially avoid doing anything that's stupid. Then there's discipline of your environment. You need to have the attitude of your home like it's your fortress, like it's a castle. I personally take the attitude that anything outside my front door is infected. Any surface that I come into contact with has virus on it, and you do not want to bring that into your house. There was a really good video done recently about how to safely bring groceries and other packages into your house. I'm going to link it below so that you guys can take a look at that. I thought it was really systematic. Basically, he takes the point of view that anything you bring into the house, you have to make believe that there's glitter on it and that the glitter is going to get everywhere. And so he's got some pretty good steps for how to decontaminate anything coming into your home. But you really need to look at your home as pretty much an extension of your physical self at this point. It is your castle, it is your fortress, and you need to take really good care of that. In addition to that, because so many of us are confined to our houses at this point, you really want to make sure that your home is a comfortable place to be right now. Like, get in there and clean it up and straighten it up. Make sure that it's not cluttered. Make sure that when you come into your living room or your workspace that it is promoting a healthy mental orientation. You don't want to have to deal with clutter and with mess and other things that are distracting you right now. And if you can, do whatever you can to beautify your home, to make it a pleasant place to be. You might be stuck there for a long time, so make sure that what you're looking at every day is something that's going to be enjoyable for you, hopefully, ideally. A lot of people are really focused on stocking their households right now. Do that responsibly. Be aware of what you have in your home and what you need, but do not get involved in hoarding or other stupid, destructive behavior right now. Society does not need that right now, and you don't even need that right now to be putting yourself through that. So be responsible about your resources and make sure you have enough, but don't get crazy about it right now. The second level of discipline that I want to talk about is discipline of the mind, really the cultivation of virtue. So I'm going to break this down with the 4 virtues of the magician: knowledge, will, courage, and silence. As far as knowledge goes, you want to have a correct assessment of your situation, and you want to have an accurate assessment of risk. Chris Hadfield recently did a great video on this, which I'm going to link below. You should go check it out. But you want to make sure that you're getting your information from credible resources. You need to avoid alternative news or alternative health or anything alternative right now. Don't bother yourself with that. Get the information from the scientists. Go to the World Health Organization, go to the CDC. There's a guy in England right now, John Campbell, who's been doing some really great, no-nonsense, scientifically oriented videos about this. I'm going to link that below for you guys. You should go and check out his daily updates on this. Make sure you have the correct knowledge. Don't fill your head with bullshit. Don't fill your head with nonsense. Personally, I have stopped looking at Trump's press conferences every day. They are filled with misinformation, half-truths, and even lies. The local radio station here has stopped airing them. It's nonsense. Make your point of contact for knowledge to be the scientists, the virologists, the epidemiologists. That's your foundation right there, and you move outward from there. So good knowledge, good risk assessment, very important. Will. You need to choose appropriate goals. A lot of us are stuck inside right now. We're stuck in situations of isolation. Give yourself a mission. Give yourself a task. Give yourself a mission that you're going to accomplish today. Give yourself a mission you're going to accomplish this week. And give yourself a mission that you're going to accomplish this month. I know that it's very hard to predict what's going to happen in the future at this point, and that in and of itself is a source of stress that has to be managed, but giving yourself those missions and that sense of purpose is deeply helpful. Then you want to put into place the systems that are going to help you get there. And you want to spend most of your time focusing on those systems. So, as we were talking about a moment ago, one of your goals is to keep your home environment safe, to turn it into a fortress or a citadel. Put in a system that you enact when you go out of the home. What are the things that you need to bring with you? What are the necessities? And then have a system for when you come back in. You know, for when you bring new objects into your environment, or a system for cleaning your hands when you come into the environment. Have a system and a structure that you follow every day when you get up in the morning. Especially if you're unemployed right now and you're not working from home, you really need to fill your day up with particular activities. So sit down and write out what that structure is going to be. Know what you're doing at 9 o'clock in the morning. Know what you're supposed to do at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Know what time you're supposed to go to bed so that you're going to get that 8 hours of sleep. Build that structure in. That's very important. You can have uncertainty about outcomes, but as long as you have certainty about systems and you can focus on systems, your mental state is actually going to be healthier than if you are focusing excessively on outcomes and other things that are uncertain. So have that focus on systems. Try as best as you can to look at the current situation as a challenge that you're going to step up to. For anything that's going on outside of you, all these things that are beyond your control, there is a capacity within each person, a spiritual capacity to rise up and to meet that challenge and to develop as an individual on your own cutting edge, to develop your skills and thereby to derive meaning from that. That's how I understand the concept of will in Thelema. And so when I'm speaking to you like this, I'm trying to energize that will inside of you, that spirit, that capacity to rise up and to not be dominated by an external circumstance, but to live at your own cutting edge and to be developed by it. So work on cultivating that sense of of being challenged and allowing yourself to challenge and finding that capacity each and every day to stand up. If you find that today you're ready to give up, that you're at your limit, tell yourself, I can give up tomorrow. You're not going to give up today. You're going to finish today. And if when tomorrow comes, you want to give up, whatever that means for you, you can do it then. But you're not going to do it today. You're going to finish what you have to do today. You're going to focus on your systems, and you're going to go to bed when you're supposed to. And if you want to give up tomorrow, you can. But you're not going to do it today. Courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is your ability to act despite your fear. Courage is your ability to carry fear. Your fear is not going to go away in the face of this. In fact, if your fear goes away in the face of this, I think something is wrong, because the situation that we're facing is dangerous. It's a dangerous situation. So fear is actually a very useful guide in this. What's not useful is being in a state of total preoccupation all the time. And so to avoid being in a state of being totally preoccupied, you need to develop your capacity for courage. Now, there are several ways that you can develop your power of courage. Like I said, you need to know what the actual risk is. So go to credible sources, understand what the actual risk you're facing is as much as possible, quantify it, get your mind around it, understand it. That's the first thing. Second thing, like I said, is to plot a course, to give yourself a mission. As long as you are acting with a sense of purpose, for example, taking care of yourself, making it through the day, taking care of the people around you, having that sense of responsibility, that is going to help you carry your fear, because you're going to be focused on your duty. Another thing that you can do to help yourself have more courage is to not emote about this. Stop going online and posting things on social media talking about how the situation sucks. Stop looking for validation. The people who are coming to you and mirroring your anxiety, they think they're helping you. They think that's compassion. It is not. They love you. They're doing that because they love you, but it's misguided. They're not helping you. They're making it worse. You're making it worse for yourself. If there's one person in your life that you can confide in, maybe at the end of the day, or maybe on those days when you feel like you're going to give up, then do that. Have that one person. Have that one confidant. But for God's sake, stop going on social media and talking about how hard this is for you. You're not being asked to do a lot. You're really not. Okay? Stop looking for validation. Stop looking for the echo chamber. It's not making things better. Your friends aren't making things better. They're making it worse. Stop giving them the opportunity and stop enabling other people. That's not helping. Fake it till you make it. You may not feel calm, but act calm. Be there for other people. Know that if you start to express fear, other people are going to start freaking out too. And if a bunch of people are freaking out, that's when the situation really spirals out of control. That's when we stop being effective. That's when we start doing stupid things. That's when we start taking a situation which is bad and we just make it as bad as possible. We have to avoid doing that. There's going to be people who are going to freak out. They're not going to be able to deal with this situation. I'm speaking to you and I'm asking you not to be that person. Don't be that person. Think to yourself, I'm going to be one of the reliable ones. I'm going to be the person who, when we all look back on this, they're going to say about me, like, wow, that person was really there. They were really tough. And you can laugh at them and you could say, I was scared shitless. I was shitting my pants through this whole thing. And they'll say, I had no idea. Be that person. Even if you don't think you can be that person, even if you want to say that's not me, just pretend that you are. And just keep pretending at it until you can't pretend anymore. And just assume that you are that person until you have really strong evidence to the contrary. Just fake it till you make it. Keep holding it together. You can do it. See how far you can go. Silence. You need to meditate every day. I know it doesn't seem like you do. I know that this seems like why would you meditate through this? How the hell would that help? It really does. You need to be able to have that kind of control over your mind. You need to bring your level of stress down. Stress is bad for you physically. It's going to hurt your immune system. It's bad for your mind. It's bad for all the people around you. You need to control that. Sam Harris recently did a really great video on this. I'm going to link it below. He's got some really good insight into that. I'm also going to link a guided meditation for you that I think is going to be really helpful that I've been using every day. But basically, you want a meditation that's going to help calm your physical body down, which is going to be soothing and healing for your physical body and bring that level of stimulation down. And you want a meditation which is going to develop your capacity for mindfulness. Mindfulness is your ability to understand basically what's going on at the moment and what you are doing. As Sam was saying, this is a situation where, like, if you're not paying attention to what you're doing with your hands and you touch your face, like, you could kill yourself, you could die, you could kill other people. That's the world we live in. And yet, most people aren't at all conscious of what they're doing with their hands. I mean, that's just one example of where you need mindfulness. There are plenty of other examples that he gives, like knowing the state of agitation that is building up inside of you and knowing when you need a timeout so that you can avoid having that boil over. You really need to develop that kind of mental confidence and that mental awareness and that self-consciousness at this point. It's a very useful, it's actually a necessary asset right now. So silence, meditation. Third, you need to discipline your spirit. The way you begin to discipline your spirit is to try to look at the situation from a more detached, more objective, more philosophical standpoint. Understand that what we are experiencing now, it has happened before. In fact, it has happened many, many, many times before. Throughout history, diseases have killed many more people than warfare. And it's probably going to continue that way in the future. From our perspective, nature is tragic. We are born, we are subject to aging and sickness and loss and sadness, and eventually we die. That is the natural course of things. That's how things are, whether we like it or not. From our perspective, this virus, this contagion, is a kind of evil. It's something that gets into the human body and it gets into the epithelial cells of the lungs and it replicates there and causes this chain reaction of inflammation and the lungs filling up with fluid and pneumonia, and we suffocate and we die, and it's a horrible, gruesome, terrible way to go. Yet another way of looking at it is to actually try to look at it from the perspective of the virus and what the virus does. The virus is a little machine that just simply replicates itself. It's not interested necessarily in harming anything. It's just the way that it is. Try to understand how the virus works. Look at it from a virological perspective. Look at it from an epidemiological perspective. Study its underlying mechanisms and how it functions. Try to see it from a more objective, detached point of view. This is what Crowley says to do with anything that you consider to be evil. Try to understand it on its own terms and eventually develop a kind of appreciation for it. Understand what nature looks like from its perspective. It seems absurd, but I guarantee you if you do look at it more closely, you will have a more detached and more balanced perspective on what has happened. So that's the first thing. Understand that no situation is able to make your life meaningless. The virus can attack us physically. It can put us in a situation where we have to socially isolate, and so we are deprived of things that we enjoy. None of those things in and of themselves rob us of our humanity, though. What robs us of our humanity is when we act in ways that are selfish, evil, petty, hypocritical. What robs us of meaning is when we bitch and complain because we can't go out and clink glasses with our friends or get our hair done or go on dates. That's what's making life meaningless at this point. choosing to see this as mere subjugation, or choosing to look at it as torture somehow. You're not being tortured. You're saving thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of lives by just sitting inside. Like, that in and of itself should be pretty meaningful as an activity. What you need to do is, instead of feeling sorry for yourself, or instead of looking at it as purely tragic, embrace humility. Embrace generosity, the kingly virtues that we find all throughout our holy texts. Embrace service toward others. Embrace a sense of duty. Embrace a sense of higher purpose and fulfillment in this. Take up the position of the sun. Look at things from a heliocentric perspective rather than a geocentric perspective. Look at this from a God's eye point of view. Put yourself in touch ritualistically with that energy every day by doing resh 4 times a day. Linking your own self up with that unity uttermost showed. Take a kingly perspective on reality. Understand that what unfolds in your world is not just simply external circumstance. It's not just external impact. There is a part of you which is able to rise up and to stand against it and to meet the challenge. To live at the cutting edge and to be transformed by it. To come out the other side of this changed, for sure, but not necessarily harmed or damaged by any of this. But different, wiser, more capable, more powerful. Also, given the conditions of social isolation, now is a time to develop a more disciplined spiritual practice. You can move beyond just simply saying will every once in a while or doing an LBRP every once in a while. Use this as an opportunity to develop more advanced spiritual skills. Meditate every day. Develop the concentration that would allow you to enter into samadhi and to see for yourself what those experiences are like. Experience for yourself what knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel is. Or crossing the abyss. Develop those spiritual muscles. Use this as an opportunity. Use this as an opportunity to develop those spiritual skills that you've been constantly putting off. It's impossible to develop those spiritual skills without isolation, without removal from the world. You can't do it. I promise you, you can't do it. So look at this as an opportunity. You have a lot of free time right now. You have a lot of withdrawal. Do your best to enjoy that. Turn that into spiritual strength. Turn that into skillful development, skillful qualities. Use this as an opportunity to transform yourself into a wiser, more capable individual. So I hope that information was really helpful to you and that you're able to put it into practice. If so, leave a comment below or just click like on the video. And as always, make sure you hit the subscribe button. See you next time.